The strongest man in the world, Hafthor Bjornsson, decided to get a hair transplant about 2 years ago. How it turned out we'll be looking at in this video in more detail. Was he a good hair transplant candidate to begin with?
This video is brought to you by GoFiber Hair Building Fibers. Pick up your free sample and get instant hair confidence. Start your transformation today.
Hey, welcome back everybody, Matt here, and you're watching my hair loss and hair transplant related channel where I'm basically talking about these topics all year round on this channel. So if you're new, make sure to subscribe and get my free ebook 5 things I wish I had known before my hair transplant. Now let's come back to the topic of today's video. Hafthor Bjornsson looks amazing after his hair transplant. I mean, everybody can see that. I'm really happy for him. It was a really good decision that he did that. He was actually 29 when he got his hair transplant. He looks great, that's all fine at first sight, but hey, let's take a look at his hairline in more detail and see if we may find some red flags or some issues with his hairline or not. And second, let's take a look at how good of a hair transplant candidate he was prior to his hair transplant. So let's take a look at that. Now, he was a Norwood 3 type of guy on the Norwood scale prior to his first hair transplant. I don't know how many grafts he got, okay? But if you take a look at the photo here, this is like 3 months in after his hair transplant. You can clearly see how the hairline has been kind of restored. You see the redness. So my estimation is around 2,000 to 2,400 grafts. Now, just in case new guys are watching this video, from these 2,000 to 2,400 grafts he got implanted, it doesn't mean he got 2,400 hairs implanted, but only grafts. From each graft, there are 2 hairs that are growing on average. So we can estimate that he got about 4,500 to 5,000 hairs implanted overall, okay? Just the rough estimation. The density on the hairline could be around 40 to 45 grafts, maybe something that I have, yeah, that's also implanted in case you are new and watching my videos. So yeah, something around 45, that's my opinion. Now, here are some things that I really like about his hair transplant. He didn't try to push his hairline lower than it originally was. It really suits him. Nobody will notice that it's a hair transplant, in my opinion. Nobody will even ever see that high up in the sky. He's like 2 meters something, so nobody will notice that. I wasn't also able to spot any double grafts or multiple follicular units, the follicular or hair units that are producing 2, 3 or more hairs out of each unit. These are always known for creating this pluggy appearance, especially if they're being placed on the hairline. If we look at his donor area, you cannot really see that he had a hair transplant either, as you cannot really spot it on his hairline. I mean, for an average person now. Now, before we talk about his future hair loss progression and why he will lose hair even after his hair transplant, and we'll take a look at some photos, let me mention a little bit about his hair transplant candidacy and how good of a hair transplant candidate he really was. Now, the number one, the most important thing that will decide upon how good of a hair transplant candidate you are is going to be your donor area density, like how many grafts or follicular units per square centimeter are there in your donor area. The more you have, the more can be also extracted without leaving like a visual impairment on your donor area, okay? Without leaving it over harvested. I don't know how many grafts he had. I'm not his clinic. I don't have his papers, since he's like Scandinavian, people from Finland, Sweden, Norway, Iceland. They're not really known for having like super high dense hair. Actually, quite the opposite. They're known for having like pretty soft, light hair, and that's why I would maybe be like probably around 70, like 75, maybe close to average, but I don't know. But there are 2 more properties that also can make you a good hair transplant candidate, looking away from the donor area density. The property number 1 is the hair color and skin color, the contrast. The lower the contrast, the better of a hair transplant candidate you are, because let's take a look at Hafthor. He has a very pale skin and he has like light brown hair, which creates a pretty low contrast environment already, and he will not need like super high coverage or density with his hair transplant, yet it can still look pretty nice and full and dense and have a nice coverage just because the contrast is low. So that would be the first property that he fulfills, and the second property would be his hair characteristics. He is also very interesting here because since he's Scandinavian, these people are again known for having soft hair, fine hair, straight hair, but he's quite the opposite. He has like light brown hair, but the hair starts curling after a while. Maybe after it's like 2-3 centimeters long already, as you can see here, it starts curling. Why is this good? Because if you get a hair transplant with such type of hair, you don't have to rely on super high implanted density only, because you can also rely on the curly property of your hair, because once that hair will grow, this curliness will kind of add on the coverage, and you will just have like much fuller look that way, as opposed to somebody who has just straight hair, and if it's not being planted dense enough, you will just see that it's just thin. Okay, let's end this video with his hair loss stage that he's currently in. For all you new guys especially, I mean, if you get a hair transplant, it doesn't mean that you stopped your hair loss or cured your hair loss, and your hair loss will just keep progressing as if it had progressed without the hair transplant. So clearly he got a hair transplant on the hairline and the central region, so now his mid-scalp and crown like keep on receding, and you can clearly see it here. He is having this diffusely thinning alopecia, this pattern that I have also. Now, I don't know if he's using any minoxidil, any finasteride, any anti-androgens. I have no idea what he's using. Hafthor is like 31, so he can lose a lot of hair. He can turn out like Norwood 6 easily, so I think he should be considering that. I don't think his donor area reserves are that good, so it could sufficiently cover everything, and maybe he doesn't want to have it covered. But for all you guys who could be in his situation, you probably want to have like well-balanced look, like proper coverage, you know, all over the scalp. So you need to think in terms of hair loss prevention, because if you don't do it, you can get another hair transplant until you can't anymore. Alright guys, that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and for all you guys who are interested in a hair transplant, trying to find a reliable clinic, a reliable doctor, maybe it's in your country, maybe it's somewhere worldwide, maybe you are willing to travel, let me help you with that. I did it already with hundreds of guys before you. You can apply for a consultation with me on www.mattdominance.com/mentoring. We're gonna schedule a call, and I'm gonna help you out find a reliable doctor. Maybe you are at the beginning of your hair transplant research, maybe you are somewhere in the middle, you have already researched some doctors, you are evaluating all the alternatives that you have. Let me discuss that with you and guide you the right way. Alright guys, that was it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.